Today we're going to be giving you a full guide, step by step, on everything you need to know and plan to move to Medellin. In my last video, if you guys watched, I gave you a 7-step transition or guide to exit your office life and get to the point where you're ready to move overseas, okay?
Yeah.
So that was kind of chapter 1. Now, once you have that remote job set up, now we move into part 2 to move and make a life here in Medellin.
If you're moving to Medellin, let me ask you this, AK.
Okay.
If you were to move to Medellin...
I'm not going to look at the notes. I'm going to look over here.
Yeah. No, if you were to move to Medellin, what would be the first thing that you would tell yourself to do?
Okay, so I'm in Australia,
Yeah.
in my office, looking, I want to move to Medellin.
Yeah,
What do
you're
I do?
like, screw this job.
Okay, I would look up probably areas to stay.
Areas to stay?
Yeah, but before that, entry requirements. How do I get in? Do I need a visa? Do I need something? Because some countries are harder than others.
Right.
And then the second thing would be where to stay.
Yeah, where to stay.
Yeah, is that the right answer?
I think that is the
Okay,
right
good.
answer. Guys, what do you think? Would that be the first thing that you look for? I know that some people might say, well, the first thing that I would figure out is my money situation. Like,
Okay.
But let's
Well, we
assume
already
that
said
you already have
you already
that.
have
Yeah.
a way to make money
Yeah.
remote,
Yeah,
right?
so
That's
you
a
already have
prerequisite
that.
for this lesson.
So that's the prerequisite, that you have some way, you either have a ton of savings,
Yep.
you have investments.
Residual income, yeah.
Something, you have your money situated so that you can come here and have, a $2,000 plus budget, hopefully.
Yeah.
But let's say you've got that sorted out
Uh-huh.
and you're looking at Medellin. I think you're right. The first thing is entry requirements. Can you give us a little synopsis of what that is right now?
It depends really on country, but most of us are coming from the US, Canada, UK, maybe Australia, right?
Yeah.
So all of us, it's pretty easy to get in. You can arrive in Medellin and you get 90 days immediately. The only thing you need to do before you land is go to a website called CheckMig.
Yeah.
You need to fill that out. And then when you come in, they stamp that you're good for 90 days, right?
Okay.
That 90 days, once it's about to expire, normally I would recommend doing it a month before the first 90 days is about to expire.
Yeah.
You can actually extend it online for another
really?
90 days.
Wow,
If you want to know
okay.
how to do that, go on my channel and look. I made a full tutorial on how to do that.
Okay.
So basically, you can get 180 days in the country every year, every calendar year, that is, January 1st
Right.
to December 31st.
Okay.
180 days without any type of visa.
Okay.
So that's your entry requirements.
That's
What
great. Let's say that you've got the entry requirements down packed. Next thing that I would do is what you said, is to research the areas where you want to live.
Yes.
So how would you go about doing that?
Watch some videos. There's many videos on YouTube. We even have one comparing the 3 most popular neighborhoods for expats. So you can watch that.
Yeah.
We have pros and cons about everything. You can read blogs,
Yeah.
but those are the best ways.
Yeah.
And then when you get down here, I always advise people, hey, if you have a month, if you're actually doing like a reconnaissance mission to actually find out if you want to move down here, don't just spend the whole month in Poblado. Go to Poblado for maybe a week, go to Envigado for a week, go to Laureles for a week, feel it out, see which you like best, then spend the last week or whatever remaining time you have in the place you like, and then narrow it down to, I guess, like specific barrio.
There's so many different little neighborhoods within neighborhoods.
Yeah, micro
Like-
neighborhoods.
Yeah, micro neighborhoods. For example, in Laureles, where AK lives, there's micro neighborhoods. You can be in a very busy place or a quiet place, or
You can be next to parks, or you can be next to the soccer stadium, or you can be next to the nightclub street where it's
Right.
pumping 24/7.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so you got to find that stuff out.
So you got to find that stuff out. But to really get a feel of the neighborhood, the best thing to do is maybe talk to people that are already there and watch videos of people that are already there. Like watch our videos. There's a bunch of other YouTube channels also that do like, the bike tour or whatever. They go through the neighborhood. Definitely that's number 2, is to figure out where you want to live, start doing some research. And then once you actually start doing that research, you need to find a place to rent.
Yeah.
And that's the tough part if you're not here physically, because the best and the most trusted website that you can do that on is Airbnb. Yet those prices are inflated. So what I usually recommend to my friends and family, and obviously students from the Medellin Masterclass, is like, okay, before you get down here, book your place on Airbnb for 2 weeks. You're going to pay an inflated price, but while you're down here for those 2 weeks, you start looking for something more long-term at more of the local rate. But I wouldn't recommend doing that if you're not actually here, because people here
Because
will
it's
scam
Colombia.
you. Because it's Colombia.
Yeah.
They've been at war for what? 200 years.
Yeah.
Literally, there's still a civil
I've seen
war.
so many people getting scammed still
Yeah.
here
Yeah.
in the rental market, haven't
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, people still get
It still
scammed
happens,
because in
yeah.
the United States, if you grow up your whole life in the United States in, like, let's say a good neighborhood in a good state where the crime rate's low, and scamming is not a thing, you trust the world.
But here, no, it's not like that.
No, it's not like that. You have to have your guard up a bit when you're coming down here. So the best thing to do is go through a trusted source.
Like Glenn, actually, one of our our subscribers, and we've been in contact with Glenn. Is he actually reached out to us and asked for some help? We sent him a couple of resources, and now he's found a place that's perfect for him. He said he's staying in Bolivariana, a couple of blocks from the university. Great location for many things. Then what's the next thing? So you've arrived here, you're in your apartment, having a cup of coffee. What's the next thing to do?
Before you even get here, start learning Spanish. And AK has said this many times on his videos, is that your life will be more enjoyable in Medellin if you actually know the language. Getting started with online courses, maybe. For example, you can get an online tutor that lives in Medellin via one of the Facebook groups or just searching online. Italki is great. You can get like a one-on-one person that you're doing basically like a Zoom call with. Yeah. Maybe once a week, twice a week, and you're improving your Spanish. On top of that, you're learning about the culture because your Spanish teacher is a paisa. And then when you get here, you have the possibility of meeting that person. So now you have a friend on the ground here. Learning Spanish is definitely on the priority list, right? That's
going to help you really navigate the city, because if we've said it many, many times before, less than 4% of the population here speaks any type of English. So that's definitely going to help you living in Medellin, because you're going to be not just stuck in one little pocket talking to all the gringos, although gringos are fun to talk to, but you live in a different country, you want to talk to the locals, right? And you're just going to be set off on all these different random paths in life. Last night, I went to an hour from Medellin in the mountains here to where my girlfriend's dad grew up, and I was talking to all her family and stuff like that. Can't do that if you don't know Spanish.
Exactly, yeah.
We also have an announcement.
We have an announcement.
It's a bit of a secretive announcement.
Yeah, it's so secret that I forgot
what it was. He doesn't even know what it is.
It's so secret, I don't even know.
We have a special for our Medellin Masterclass this month, but it's a secret special because we actually want to only offer it to people that we think are going to be a great part of our community. So what we want to do is interview you. You can book a call with us, free call.
The link is in the description below.
15 minutes, we talk to you and say, hey, this guy or girl going to be a good fit with us? And if so, then we give you our special discount.
What would be the next step when moving to Medellin apart from the first 3 that we went through?
Okay, so now you've arrived in the city and then you've decided you really, really like living here. Maybe you want to extend your time because, as I said before, you only get 180 days in the country on a typical tourist visa. So you need to figure out actual long-term visas. That can be anything from, as I discussed before, the digital nomad visa, which gives you 12 months, or in some cases, 2 years. Usually you get the 2 years if you apply from your home country. So if you're in the US, you go to the embassy there and apply. I have heard some stories where they'll give you 2 years. Usually if you do it from within Colombia, you'll get 1 year. So digital nomad visa is one. If you want to study Spanish at maybe a local university or institution here, you can get a student visa. If you want to do some investing, then you can get a real estate visa. There's 2 different types of visas. One is called a migrant visa and one's called a visitor visa. The student visa and the digital nomad visa, these are temporary visas. Usually people that come here, with the word nomad is in the title, people come here with the intention of doing something and then leaving. So those do not count towards residency. You can get 100 years of digital nomad visa, you're still not going to be able to apply for residency.
Unless they change the law.
Unless they change the law. Unless they change the law. Migrant visa, they accumulate. You need 5 years of a migrant visa, and then you can apply for residency. Then you don't need visas anymore. And some of those, example, are domestic partnership, if you're in a relationship living with a Colombian, which is what I'm going to do. Situation. If you're married, if you are a investor, if you've invested over, let's call it $150,000 in an apartment, or you've invested over about 30K in a local business, hiring locals, etc. Those are the types that you can accumulate, get 5 years, and get residency.
You can start getting in contact with visa attorneys out here. For example, our go-to guys are the guys at Nexo Legal, and they all speak English. So that is a big plus because you want to know exactly all of these rules. We know them off, the top of our head because we deal with this every day. But, if you're new and you don't know about visas, and let's say you don't just plan on living here for 1 year and then leaving and then going off to another country like a nomad, but you want to stay here longer term and maybe one day get residency, then you should learn all of these laws and what is good for you. Number 6, what would be the number 6 thing for you to do that you could probably start
you can start
getting arranged back home without even having to be in Medellin?
I would start looking for activities that I want to do, connecting with people, like-minded people who like to do these activities too. So automatically I'm not getting to the city and be like, oh, what do I do now? I might even have Tuesday night, I found this event, Thursday this event,
Yeah.
Saturday this event, let's go. You can even join the WhatsApp groups and talk to the people there and make friends before you're alive. Before you arrive.
You're alive.
Before you arrive, because that's what makes a city. Isn't that right, Andrew? It's not like the place or the cost of living or whatever. It's the type of people that you meet there and connect with and grow.
Yeah, I've heard this so many times from people on both ends. One is that they didn't like their stay in Medellin, and this is the very few times that I've heard this, that someone doesn't like Medellin, and it's valid. I mean, not everybody's going to like it, but more people like it than not. But some of the people that have said that they didn't like Medellin and they left is because they couldn't find their tribe or have connections with people, deeper connections. And usually that's tied to them not learning the language, hence not being able to make friends, real friends that don't just want money from you or stuff like that. Another fault that they have also is that they don't get out of their little bubble, like, and it's usually like the poblado bubble. Usually these people either work from home or are retired or early retirees, and then they go to the bar at night. And that's the only people they hang out with, and they don't have any local connections. So it's really hard to really enjoy the place when you don't have friends. So the best way to make friends here, in my opinion, has been through activities. Some of my best Colombian friends I met through playing basketball here.
Yeah.
Basketball tournaments, being on basketball teams. So doing stuff within the community, whether it's activities or even just getting a local job, even or volunteering.
Yeah,
that's
mine the same too. Like I met a lot of mates from playing tennis and even at the gym sometimes and volunteering and everything like that. But a big hurdle that you guys might encounter, depending on which country you're from, but most countries, it might be weird to just speak to someone, a stranger, immediately and say, what are you doing? Where are you from?
Want to be friends?
Yeah, want to be friends? Want to be friends, or you want to hang out?
You used to do that when you were kids.
When you were a kid, yeah. And isn't it weird that it used to be completely normal when we were kids, and then somehow through society, it's like, don't do that. Don't talk to people. Just look down and keep walking.
Yeah.
It's not like that at all here.
Colombian people as a whole, as someone had mentioned, are untrusting to each other. Like if you're a Colombian, you kind of usually like you've got your guard up to other Colombians that are going to try to help you and stuff because you don't want to get scammed. You know, it's a country where a lot of the population are in poverty and they're trying to come up some way, so they're going to try to get over on you. So people do have their guard up, but when it's a foreigner,
they love it.
They welcome it with open arms because they can't believe that a foreigner would come down here to just scam them. Yeah, so that's the one of the things that you can do, even if you're not in Colombia, in Medellin, you can start seeking these groups out for the things that you love to do. If you like to volunteer, look up volunteer groups on Facebook, on the MDE community. If you like to play chess, there's a chess group. Start connecting with those people, etc., so that when you get down here, you hit the ground running instead of just being alone and lonely, because that's usually one of the reasons why people don't
leave.
Being here is because they feel lonely, and it's a valid point, but you got to work at it, right? It's not just going to happen. People aren't just going to fall out from trees here just to be like your friend, right? You actually have to
you got to
do some work.
You got to put yourself in the correct situations to make friends.
Yeah.
If you just sit at home, watch Netflix,
right,
ain't nobody showing up to your door being like, let's hang out. Hopefully not anyway. That'd be weird.